The moment we create any institution, whether a government, corporation, NGO, or political party, we create a self-organizing entity that takes on a life of its own. Once an organization is formed, no individual, not even its leaders, has control over it. Institutions do not think, behave, or get treated like individuals. They cannot exercise common sense, they are incapable of empathy, they are not humane, and they cannot be held accountable when things go wrong, which means they will meet short-term objectives regardless of long-term expense. And no matter what their initial purpose or intentions, their priorities become the same: protect the institution, secure its survival and funding, and expand its influence and power. And this will happen even when doing so goes against the purpose of the institution. This is why institutions can be filled with well-intentioned people and still develop policies that no reasonable individual would knowingly choose. Our inseparably complex world is being divided into social, economic, or environmental silos and is managed at scale by our institutions, resulting in escalating unintended consequences across those complex connections. We are living with those consequences. There is a rapidly growing demand for world leaders to act on global biodiversity loss and climate change. And most of us still believe it is being caused by greenhouse gases, deforestation, and livestock. But those are all natural resources, and no natural resource would ever cause a problem on its own. And the solutions focus on replacing fossil fuels with renewable energy, planting billions of trees, and protecting forests to heal our planet. But scientists are now admitting that we are causing climate change. And if that's the case, then the cause must be our management. Our management is causing the unnatural behavior, impact, and use of all natural resources. And while things like regenerative agriculture and the replacement of fossil fuels should absolutely be supported, it's much more important for us to talk about something more urgent. So, after decades of denying that we are causing climate change, scientists now acknowledge that we are causing it, which means we have to talk about our management. Now, we believe that we manage thousands of things, but when we look at it closely, that isn't actually the case. In reality, we are only managing 3 things. We manage ourselves, our economies, and our environment. And those are not things we produce or make. We only manage them. Through people managing economies, we use nature to produce everything from food and clothing to spacecraft. Now, the things we produce are not complex or self-organizing. They will stop working if we stop using or making them. And if we aren't happy with the way we are producing something, if it is inhumane or harmful to us or the environment, we can change the method of production. And this shows us that the technological fossil fuel side of climate change will be the simplest part to address, and we will come up with better technologies because technology, innovation, and human ingenuity are advancing faster than ever. So the cause of our problems does not lie in what we make or produce. The cause of our escalating global problems can be found in the way we manage our societies, economies, and nature, which are inseparably complex and self-organizing. None of us would be able to breathe, drink water, eat, or make money without nature. Our societies, economies, and the natural world function in inseparably complex wholes, patterns, and relationships. Yet, our current management separates these connections, resulting in damaging unintended consequences that are driving environmental degradation, economic instability, and social breakdown. And we can see those consequences all around us. It's our inherited inability to manage this complexity which is causing our problems to escalate. And this is what world leaders need to address. Our management of people, economies, and nature on a huge scale is done through institutional policies, and that is the biggest driver of our problems. Society believes that there are many ways of developing policies, but when we break it down, all governments, from democracy to dictatorship, past and present, develop policies exactly the same way. And at scale, our societies, economies, and environment are divided into separate ministries and departments and managed in silos through these impersonal government and organizational policies. So, policies are based on expert advice from narrowly trained professionals in each separate field, along with input from interested parties, pressure groups, and political interests. Now, I was imagining it like we're trying to manage a whole complex elephant. It is made up of thousands of inseparably complex parts, but we separate those and will create a ministry of bones, tusks, eyes, ears, etc., with experts who have studied each of those different parts advising policymakers. But there's no one who has ever studied a whole elephant or how to manage it. So nobody is considering what impact these policies are having on the health of the elephant in the long run. Now, developing policies like this immediately reduces the inseparable connections between humans, economies, and nature, with the short-term objectives of each ministry being met, with no consideration to the inevitable and damaging long-term consequences which ripple out over those complex connections over time. Now, the damaging consequences of our reductionist management are most visible in agriculture. Agriculture is the foundation of all civilization. Almost the entire planet is involved. Crops, livestock, forestry, fisheries, and wildlife are all part of agriculture. Yet across the world, our grasslands, oceans, rivers, and forests are being degraded as man-made deserts expand. We are losing tens of billions of tons of soil every year, far faster than it can ever be rebuilt. Now, here in the area where I live, surrounding Victoria Falls and Wangi, across Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, and Namibia, there are more than 30 national parks. Now, these areas represent what we consider our best land management. Yet, our national parks globally are among the most visible examples of biodiversity loss and desertification in brittle environments, and they are contributing to global climate change rather than mitigating it. Now, across the world's arid or brittle environments, the same pattern has emerged. Even where livestock, industry, and fossil fuels are absent, the environment continues to deteriorate. National parks have become our canaries in the coal mine, warning us that the problem lies not in the resources we're blaming, but in how we manage them. While we need to create a paradigm shift in our management, we also need to address the biological reversal of environmental degradation. We are a tool-using species, and our ability to reverse global biodiversity loss and climate change depends on what tools we use. To manage our environment, humans have only ever had 3 tools: fire, technology in all its forms, from axes and tractors to pesticides and fertilizers, and we've had the idea of resting or conserving land, removing disturbance in the hope that the biodiversity will recover. Yet across the world's brittle environments, 2 of these tools, fire and rest, are rapidly accelerating desertification, and the third, technology, can never solve a biological problem. So, no management or policy can ultimately be successful without the use of a biological tool that is capable of reversing desertification. Now, all it would take to trigger a global shift is for one nation to develop the first agricultural policy that ties the country's social and economic stability to environmental health, and this could be done practically and without risk. The knowledge already exists, but what is missing is not science, but the facilitation needed to help any government apply this. So these principles connect social, economic, and environmental complexity, recognizing that a nation's stability depends entirely on environmental health, and will provide a foundation for a new generation of agricultural policy grounded in soil health and the biological sciences. Modern agriculture is rooted in input-driven, chemically based approaches that meet short-term objectives while degrading soil health, driving long-term social and economic instability. Right now, agriculture is one of the most damaging and extractive uses of land and water globally, but it is also our greatest opportunity for social, economic, and environmental regeneration. The holistic management framework provides a clear, scalable pathway to address the root cause of the world's rapidly escalating social, economic, and environmental problems. Think of it like this. For thousands of years, we did not know how to fly. But when the Wright brothers discovered the principles of flight and applied them, we were able to fly. And within 70 years, humans were on the moon. Now that we know what is causing climate change, we can apply these new management and ecological principles and fly, offering hope for our future generations.